And recording? Yep, we're recording. What up, fuckers? Sentry Gun. Another unboxing. Just got another delivery package from Massdrop in the last couple of days. Actually had to go out and do some shopping for it. Here's our drop. Here's our drop. Here's our box. Massdrop. And what I have got in my hands is an FX Audio DAC-X6. Now, FX Audio was a company or a brand I had not actually heard of before I saw this thing on Massdrop, but I took a look over the specs and it looked interesting, so I picked it up. Once again, sitting in the sub $100 DAC amplifier all-in-one category. So I was pretty interested to see how it goes. The performance specs on this thing looks alright, looks pretty good. Anyway, straight off the bat, 16-bit support up to 192 kilohertz, 24-bit support up to 96 kilohertz, so that's pretty good. Inputs are good. USB, coaxial, fiber optic, pretty much everything you want. It's primarily for use with PCs, I'd say. Inside the package, as we take it out again, hang on, I'm going to close the box so you can see. FX Audio, if you recognize, where are we? Shenzhen, China. That should be a name that is becoming familiar to people quickly. Quite honestly, there are a lot of audio equipment manufacturing companies based there. Shenzhen, China. As I quickly Google up some information while we are fucking talking here instead of actually doing this beforehand like I should. Major city in the Guangdong province, China, immediately north of Hong Kong. It's a city that has seen a major explosion in, I suppose you'd say, like, industrialization and being set up like real contemporary place. In the recent, like, minerals and construction boom that's going on in China, Shenzhen is a city that has benefited from that in a massive way. And there's a lot of new players in, you know, I won't say emerging industries. That's kind of silly because, you know, people have been making audio gear since the fucking dawn of time, basically. But, in recent years, sort of the audiophile consumer market, especially for PC-based audio stuff powering headphones, which have also sort of seen a big resurgence in popularity, you know, as gamers and PC-using enthusiasts are steadily moving away from headsets. Terrible, terrible headsets. Don't buy fucking headsets, you buy nice headphones. And so yeah, this is a company that's sort of come out of that. So coming out of the area, I was keen to have a play with this thing anyway and see what we got. The power output specs on our little DAC amp unit are quite nice as well. For really high impedance headphones, it's sort of sitting a bit borderline, but for low to mid impedance headphones, like anything from your like industry standard 32 up to 150 ohms, heaps of grunt, this little fucker. A full watt at 32 ohms output, 1000 milliwatts, 62 ohm, which is an odd stepping to specifically mention 62 ohms, 910 milliwatts at 100 ohms, 610 milliwatts at 300 ohms. I've been reading this wrong the whole time. Never mind, I'm retarded. We're going to start again from the top. 910 milliwatts at 32 ohms. 610 milliwatts at 62 ohms. 450 milliwatts at 100 ohms. 180 milliwatts at 300 ohms. 90 milliwatts at 600 ohms. As you can see there, from sort of once you get below, or once you get above 100 ohms, your load impedance in your headphones, the power delivery starts to drop off fairly sharply. 90 milliwatts at 600 ohms isn't a lot of juice at all. On my head right now, Bad Dynamic DT990 600 ohm headphones. I'm running these things off a shit stack Uber, so plenty of grunt there. But these things are very efficient headphones for 600 ohm cans, and they are rated at 100 milliwatt, 110 milliwatt power handling capacity. And these are really, really efficient, even at this resistance impedance. They're very easy to drive, these things, but the rated power output on this particular unit still sits below that at 90 milliwatts, so it'll take, you know, really going to be cranking that handle right up on this thing to get a appreciable volume out of it. Now in my hand I have the DAC-amp itself. Here's the box. Comes presented in, it actually came in a nice little foam baggy packaging, which sat in with the amp wrapped around it. You would see it like so, but actually in the fucking packet. And it came with a nice little pass card. It passed. I don't know what it passed. I can't read Chinese. Probably a test. Test of quality. I would hope a test of quality. Anyway, let's take a look at the DAC unit. Close, we're getting a lot of glare off the screen there. Very shiny. I'm trying to find an angle at which we're getting no light. Getting no light. Anyway, at the front here you've got a couple of switches. What my finger is on now is a power switch. Toggle on, toggle off. Good firm feel of the switches, which is nice. And you've got another toggle switch in the center, which has 3 positions. The top for the optical input, the middle for the USB input, and the bottom for the coaxial input, as seen on the back of the unit itself. USB in, optical in, coaxial in, and left and right 3 outs, I believe, so you can actually hook this thing up to a set of powered monitors as well and use it to drive that. The volume knob on this thing actually feels really nice. Stepped attenuator. Like, it's got like a little bit of resistance when you feedback. You can feel that nice like clicking, ratcheting, stepped feel to it. It feels really good. 1/4-inch headphone jack, proper size, which is good, not a fucking 3.5mm little skinny thing. No difference in audio quality between a 1/4-inch and a 3.5. 1/4-inch is quite frankly harder to break. Larger surface contact area when you're sticking things into it, more durable, just, you know, bigger, hardier. That's basically it. Audio quality, no difference. Don't let anyone tell you there is. This thing takes a DC 12 volt input at 1 amp or above. The power pack I've been given for this thing, see, when I ordered this from Massdrop, they were quite good. Choose your rated, you know, input, whether you're like a 100 volt system or a 240. I said, oh great, they're giving me an option for a 240 50 hertz input, which is great, which is what we use in Australia, 240 volts, 50 hertz AC. And they did exactly that. Still an Asian plug. Got a solution for that. I went out shopping to. Here is one Australian to anywhere on earth converter. A couple of USB ports, which is nice. So what I am going to do, also came with a nice USB 2 cable. Not incredibly long, I think a meter, 90 centimeters, meter and a half, 1.5 meters, I don't know, 1.5 is ringing a bell for me. I should actually check the packet for this thing and tell you that. USB 2.0 cable, 1.5 meters, yep. So what I'm going to do is put this thing together, and then I'm going to plug some shit into it and have a listen, tell you what I think. I'm exceptionally keen to test this against the Uber shit stack. Not necessarily in terms of power, because I know for a fact that the shit stack drives a shitload more power through it than this thing does, but mostly for, you know, clarity. Does it drive the headphones I've got for it? I'm going to be plugging the Philips SHP 9500s into it as my sort of main testing headphone for this. I don't really have a lot of low impedance stuff that's actually worth listening to around this house. I've got assorted ear bud plugs things. I've got like a little set of Plantronics earbuds somewhere. They sound nice, but they're, you know, they're earbuds, they're little things. I don't like them much. I like headphones, when I say. Anyway, I'm going to plug the SHP 9500s in and see how it feels. What I'll be listening for is it clear? You know, the bass isn't muddy, the detail's still there, drives into an acceptable volume, because I'm very keen to see if this thing sort of stands up in the price range that it is. Is it something that I could recommend to friends? That is essentially what I'm talking about. I'm always on the lookout for relatively cheap audio bits and pieces for desktop setups that I can recommend to PC people who would otherwise be spending their money on expensive gaming headsets, which I despise. I wrote a Reddit post a while ago that kind of blew up, went pretty well for me. Basically told, you know, gaming headsets suck, take a look at this stuff, and it was aimed at sort of explaining a few things to people, sort of from my mind, with a little bit of supporting video and bits and pieces, as well as how to get sort of into, you know, budget DAC amp headphone setup, external audio processing, get it away from the inside of your PC where all the interference is, and do it on the cheap, basically, really on the cheap. Like, sort of the recommended setup we're looking at: Superlux HD668Bs, FIO E10K, you know, that sort of thing. Really cheap mic. Get like a Boom Pro if you're gonna mod the headphones, or a mod mic, like even a Zalman clip-on, something really cheap, like a $12 freestanding desktop mic, something you pick up on eBay, something that sounds like shit. But anyway, I've been talking to a few guys over the last few days, and I'm starting to get more questions from people asking. They're saying, hey, look, I've got like $200, $250 to spend on an audio setup, what do you recommend for me? And that's where I would like something like this to come into play. At the moment, sort of, I'm hovering between 3 all-in-one DAC amp units. The SMSL M3, Mica Origin Plus, I don't even know, Origin, they've got a capital G in there that just throws it out. And the third one that I can't even remember because I've just totally fucked myself by saying Origin 85,000 times. I'm going to pull this up on Reddit now and have a talk about it. Anyhow, 3 amps plus a selection of headphones depending on the sort of sound people want. SHP 9500s, Audio Technica or ATH M40Xs, the NVX XPT 100s, Sony MDR 7506, stuff in that sort of range, like sub $100 headphones. Sort of really sub $100. Some of it you can pick up as cheap as like $60, $70 US, which is quite good. Anyway, everything that sits inside that sub 100 mark: a DAC amp, a set of headphones, and a nice mic, which I was looking at. Sort of the two main recommendations are the Blue Snowball, Samson Media. Sort of lean towards the Blue Snowball. It's a couple of bucks cheaper and tends to review a little bit better, although the only major difference between the two is a little bit of you know, tone difference in the recording, I suppose. Some people say like than the other, but it's really not a huge amount of difference. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. The other amp I was talking about, we're gonna fucking pull it up. We're gonna find it. It's gonna happen. Gonna happen. It was the E10K. There you go, I talked about it in the first place. SMSL M3, Mica Origin Plus, or the FIO E10K as sort of a intro amp, USB condenser microphones, Blue Snowball or a Samson Media, headphones options, Philips SHP 9500s or the AKG K240s in open format if you like something, you know, a bit warmer or something a little bit brighter. closed back headphones, XPT 100s, M40Xs, 7506s, stuff like that. I mean, all up, you take your favourite from each of those lists I just gave you there between the DAC, the mic, and the headphones, and it generally pulls up under the $250 mark, like between $220 and $250 US, and that's a, you know, perfectly respectable setup for the money spent. $200. Like if you were intending on spending that on a gaming headset, the quality of getting something from that list of stuff would absolutely just fucking blow it away. In terms of what you're going to get out of it in recording quality for using the mic, what you're going to hear, usability. You don't have like this shitty little boom mic stuck to your face. You've got a nice mic sitting on a desk that you can, you know, use for stuff. Good for PC gamers. Console people, I don't know, stick to your headset if you really fucking want to so much, but even then, you know, I'm not a console person. PCMR all the way, so not my problem. Anyway, I've been fucking rambling on for way too long. What I'm gonna do is pause this video, get this shit set up so you don't have to sit and watch me fiddle around with it while it happens. I'm gonna plug it in and have a listen to it, see what we reckon. Alright, am I back? So, I've just been having a bit of a fuck around, getting this thing plugged in and set up. Behaved itself immediately. At first I thought, oh fuck, I'm not hearing anything, what am I doing wrong here? I had the input set to optical instead of USB, so there you go, I'm just retarded. I've been having a brief listen to it as well, and it's pretty good. As you can see, I've changed the cans. I've now got a set of SHP 9500s on, rather than the DT 990s, which are now hanging up on my monitor, as my desk is an absolute fucking mess. I'm actually out of space, I've got shit lying around everywhere here. But we're gonna move this camera, and let's take a look at our DAC in action. Here's me computer. There's the PG34 8Q, 27 8Q, which is Nils headphone stand, pliers, things, bits and pieces, Behringer Micro. There's the shit stack, and sitting beside it is the FX Audio DAC-X6. That's quite a mouthful. I'm just going to call it the X6. And it doesn't sound too bad. Quite honestly, it's alright. The highs are lovely and clear. The bass is present, as I would like it to be. Autofocus, come back to me. And yeah, so it sounds alright, quite honestly. I'm going to... At the moment, I've got the volume. I'm calling it about 10 o'clock. Volume on Spotify is cranked, volume on Windows is cranked. Actually, our live volume's like about halfway on Windows. And as I turn this up, I've got this at about 9 o'clock now, 10 o'clock. This thing pushes plenty of power through these things. I would imagine right now you'd be able to hear basically what I'm listening to. So I don't want to get too much of this unless someone fucked me up for copyright, but as we bring it in, hopefully that picked up alright in the cardioid pattern on the mic. Like you said, have to hold the headphones a little bit in front of it, you can't just sort of put them beside it in order to get that, but sounds pretty good. While I also fluff around with this, I'm going to aim to find something a little bit more bassy that I can put on for you guys. Or perhaps something more vocal.
Never tells you that forever feels like home, sitting all alone inside your head. 'Cause I'm looking at you through the glass, don't know how much time has passed. All I know is that it feels like forever, but no one ever tells you that forever feels like home, sitting all alone inside your head.
It's pretty good. Bass is good, the highs are good. Feels like it's got a little bit less in the lows, not quite as full as coming from the Magni. I don't know, I could just be perceiving that, it might not actually be a thing, if you know what I mean. But that's what I'm getting out of it. It's good for low impedance headphones, it drives the fuck out of these things. I'll be, you know, as I collect more and more bits and pieces, I've got a set of AKG M220s on the way from Massdrop as well. I give them a lot of my money. Which are, I believe, essentially just a dolled up version of the K240s, which is another, like I was speaking earlier about headphones that sit in that sub $100 mid-range to go along with DACs that sit in the DAC amps that sit in the sub $100 range. And I'll be also quite keen to give those a test on this as well. In the meantime, this thing actually gets a thumbs up from me. I'm calling it, you know, on par with an E10K, easy. I'm yet to listen to the SMSL M3 or Mica Origin, so I can't really make a fair one-to-one comparison with those apart from just comparing stats, which doesn't tell the whole picture, quite honestly. Fucking everyone in Z Reviews chat on Telegram, listen to that. I get, like, I love to quote stats when people say, oh, this amp's more powerful than that amp. I'm like straight on it with the fucking numbers going, actually, this one's more powerful than that one. Here's the fucking, read the fucking documentation. Get the multimeter on it, do the fucking tests. But you know, they do sound different, that is true. Like different amps, different sounds regardless of the power, yada yada. Anyway. It's good. It sounds nice. It drives these headphones very adequately. And the bass sounds good. Ooh, that's very loud. Really easy to hurt yourself with these. Like, I've got these things on 9 o'clock at the moment, and I would call that listenable volume. I'm still looking for something really bassy to drive through these things that's an absolute straight down, low to the ground. Ah, I got it. I need to get low. Get low. Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you guys are actually getting the bass off this or not. I don't know. I can't tell if you can hear it or not. Like, I haven't really tested this mic properly with headphones at the right distances for the recording patterns to get the most out of them for proper sound sampling. I'll probably set up a little rig at some point where I can, you know, clamp them, place them where I need them to, position them around the mic, because it, you know, picks everything up in stereo just fine, and, you know, have a listen to a few recordings. Just to make sure I'm getting things positioned right for the field of sound, or switch it to whichever mode I need to, whether bidirectional or cardioid, whatever picks it up the best. Anyway. Camera, again, we're going down. FX Audio DAC-X6. I picked this thing up very cheap. It was less than $70. Fuck me, fidgeting over the back with that camera. It was less than $70 US on Massdrop, and I believe you can pick this thing up online for quite a similar price. Worth a look in, straight up. It's got a few input and output options. Well presented. Not a tiny unit. Definitely got some power to it. Fucking for low to mid impedance stuff, plenty of power. Heaps and heaps and heaps. I could imagine it will drive just about anything you can plug into it. Up to around that 150 ohm range. Even really inefficient stuff, this thing's got plenty of juice. So that's really cool. Alright. That's me. I'm out. Review's done for now. FX Audio DAC-X6. We've unboxed it, we've had a chat about it, we've had a listen to it. Pretty good. I rate it.